This episode of the What's Happening Delco podcast is brought to you by Delco Meets for Business. Check us out on Meetup, register, and attend one of our fantastic networking meetings, which we meet on the first and third Thursday at the Brick House in Ridley Park, and the second and fourth Thursday at the Upper Crust in Newtown Square. We look forward to seeing you there. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Lanisha Holland of Happily Naturally Me. Lanisha, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm excited because we get to learn about Happily Naturally Me. What is that?
So Happily Naturally Me is a natural skincare brand that caters towards individuals that have like eczema, psoriasis, or just really dry skin. And those skin conditions are making them feel not so great about themselves. So our goal is to help you achieve happy skin the natural way so you can help boost that self-confidence and start loving the way that you look even more, right?
How did you get all started with this?
So when my son, he's now 14, when he was a baby, he had very severe eczema, and we tried so many different things. Like the doctors kept prescribing us stuff. Nothing was working. They ended up giving us steroid cream. I'm not a fan of steroid cream because at the time when he was born, I was starting to be more conscious about the things that I was eating, the things that I was putting on my skin. So I was learning a lot at that time. And I knew that steroid cream actually thins out the layers of your skin. So it's not a long-term solution. So not really good for you. So me being the person that I am, I'm a big problem solver. So, and I wanted something natural for him anyway. So I just started doing a lot of research and started creating stuff specifically for him as well as myself, because again, I was getting into more of a natural lifestyle. And I did a lot of research on ingredients, and I started creating stuff for him, and it started working, and people started noticing. They're like, what have you been using on his skin? I was like, I just made some stuff for him because nothing the doctors was giving us was working. And then other people started asking for it. And I was like, okay, but me, I think this might be a business idea, right? So that's the beginning. And then it just blossomed into a whole entire collection of natural products.
What were some of those first steps? I understand you talk about the research, you see the results, people are acknowledging the results, but what were some of those first steps in, all right, this is a business, how do I start to make it that?
Okay. So again, even though I was getting people asking me about it, I still needed to make sure that it was something that was going to be able to sell, not just to my family and friends that I knew, right? So I started bottling things up, and I was like, I'm just going to go to this flea market. And at the time I was living in Lancaster. Now I'm, in Delco, right in Upper Darby. And even though it's an online business, I do vending events in the area and things like that, and especially in Philadelphia. But at the time I was in Lancaster, and I was traveling to this flea market right outside of Allentown, I guess kind of closer towards Reading. And I was going there almost like every weekend selling it. And I was like, okay, strangers are buying this. All right, let me get this website up and running. Let me turn this into like a full-fledged registered business. So I went through that whole process. And guys, we're talking like 2014, around that time frame. So this was before we had our drag and drop website. So I was like, let me get this WordPress for Dummies book at the store. And I taught myself how to actually build a website from scratch. And again, I was working for a time. So this was something that even though it was a full-fledged business on paper, I was still kind of running it like it was a hobby. Like I wasn't having like a whole lot of sales online. I was still going to the flea market every so often and just, learning as I went. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. Again, we're talking 2014 here. And I didn't start taking it very seriously until 2019. And then around that time frame was when I decided that I kind of wanted to just dive straight into things. And I was already tired of being in corporate America anyway. So I quit my 9-to-5 and I just went full force into running my business, mainly online and doing vending events.
You mentioned you've expanded your line. Talk about the other products or talk about your whole product line so people can become more aware of all the things that you offer.
So like I said, every single product has been created for a purpose. So even though the whipped shea butter is the unscented, now if you guys have like eczema, psoriasis, or any type of skin conditions, I do recommend that you lean more towards the unscented version of the whipped shea butter. The scented ones are scented with essential oils. Again, no synthetic fragrances, so we have to be very careful with that. And then the next product that I ended up creating, I started experimenting with making soaps from scratch. Straight from scratch, like no melt and pour bases. So then there was a line of soaps. Again, everything's created with a purpose. Now there's also body scrubs and bath soaks.
As somebody that is in the health and wellness space now for 10 years, how do you feel, or what do you think about the removal of dyes and things in these products that are on the market when you've already known this about these products? As you said, going back to your son, there are things in these creams and ointments that were not working or causing adverse reactions. But as somebody that you're in the forefront, you're there all the time promoting and talking to people about why this is more healthy or why this is more effective. What are some of your what's the feedback that you get, when you think about it? What's that? Hey, I've been onto this. Where have you been?
So, I mean, there's a nice size niche of people who are, already on to living more of a natural lifestyle, especially when it comes down to skin as well as hair products. I am starting, when it comes down to food, I mean, it's in everything. So reading ingredients, and I feel like for me, it's still kind of hard to get away from certain things because, for example, my son, he absolutely loves strawberry Pop-Tarts. And I know that there's red dye in there. And that is one of his favorite things to eat. And even though I try not to buy them all the time, I've tried different types of brands of natural Pop-Tarts, and he will just not eat them. He's like, no, this does not taste the same. This is not good. So I think it's kind of hard to just go cold turkey. So you have to do it in moderation. And I wish the US would, kind of get more on the bandwagon, because there are other countries that have been banned certain things in our foods that's being consumed. And I don't know why the US is so far behind on that.
I think it's about the conversation you and I are having now. It's an awareness. If the negatives outweigh the positives in terms of people coming out to them and saying, we're not participating anymore, then I think that's where that groundswell comes from. I am very surprised you have not created your own strawberry Pop-Tart for your son, given your, entrepreneurship, but maybe that's going to be something in the new line. When you have those conversations with your consumers, or when you meet somebody, let's say, as you mentioned, at a flea market or a craft fair, and they come to you and say, what is this? I've never heard of this. Why is this better? You can share your stories, but what are some of those interactions? Talk about some of those conversations.
So surprisingly, there are still so many people that have no idea about the benefits of shea butter in itself. And the base of the whipped shea butter that I formulated is made with raw shea butter. So it still has all of its nutrients and everything still intact. It hasn't been stripped, because a lot of the products that you find over the counter, and I'm not going to name any names, guys, but you'll see a lotion that says it has shea butter in it. But when you look at, and for those of you that do not know this, that when you look at the order of ingredients, it goes from most to least. And you'll notice that lotion that says it has shea butter in it, it's not one of the first ingredients. It's kind of way farther down. So you're not even getting a lot of shea butter to help nourish your skin. You're getting all of the other things that the product has been laced with before you even get to the shea butter in itself. So you think that you're getting this quality product, but it's still not as great as getting it from like, raw pretty much, because it's been stripped down so much that you're not even getting all of the benefits anymore. So a lot of people are very familiar with cocoa butter. So that's the easiest example that I give them, like, hey, you know what cocoa butter is, right? Yeah, I know what cocoa butter is. Well, shea butter is actually more superior than cocoa butter. So if you like cocoa butter and you think that you're getting, nutrients from that, then you'll get even better skin results when you switch over to shea butter.
You talk about, and we're not naming names, but you talk about those other brands. And I think the awareness too of you're not utilizing things like stabilizers. And the reason why some of those other ingredients might be in there is because they stretch the value to them about, all right, well, we can make more money and more profit if we add these additional ingredients, even though the quality's not going to be there. And now people are saying, well, this is so much less expensive. I'm going to go with that one because the packages, they say whipped shea butter or whatever you want to say it does. But that's where somebody like you is so unique, because you're giving them the whole bar of gold, not just gold flakes, right?
Correct. I like that. Yes, absolutely.
You're not giving the watered down gold. You're giving them the full value. You mentioned the flea markets or places you're shopping online. Where can people find you, and how do they, now look? Now we ship nationally, worldwide. People are going to hear this. Our number 2 country listening to our podcast, the What's Happening Delco podcast, is the United Kingdom and England. People are listening in England. So thank you to the England residents for doing that. So if you're reaching out, how do they get a hold of your products and how can they purchase them?
Well, currently we're only shipping in the United States. Now, the goal is for that to change very soon. So make sure that if you go to the website, which is happily.naturally.me.com, you get yourself on the email list. So that way you can stay up to date with what is currently going on. So again, in the United States, you can currently purchase online anything and it'll be shipped right to you, and it's free shipping if you spend over $70, guys. So definitely get that order up so you can get the free shipping. As well as you can find our products, our whipped shea butter, locally at the gift shop, Hydra New York gift shop, which is inside of Penn Medicine Hospital, inside of the main hospital. And if you are familiar with Flaunt Fitness, you can actually get some of our products there as well. And they teach a different types of dance classes, like aerial dance classes, pole dance classes, things like that. The owner, she had vendors come in about 2 years ago, and I did a vending event for her, and she bought some, and she was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is so amazing. She had eczema on her hands. She was like, it cleared it up in like 3 days. And she decided to stock the store. She had a little store in there with some of the products, so that is where you can find them locally. And then, of course, I do post when I do vending events throughout the area, greater Philadelphia area.
Instagram, Facebook, Happily Naturally Me as well.
Yep. Everything is underneath at Happily Naturally Me, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, while that is still going.
Your energy, your enthusiasm, your love and belief of this product or these products that you created, it's coming out. I mean, you're radiating. You really are. How did you come up with the name Happily Naturally Me?
Well, again, like I was kind of going through my own journey, and I started with my hair. I mean, even though, guys, it's dyed blonde, you're listening to this on the radio, but I do, if you check out my pages, my hair is dyed blonde. But I normally have it out in a fro and things like that. It's cold right now, so during the winter, I do try to straighten it a little tiny bit. But I don't even have a relaxer in, and I wanted to live more of a natural lifestyle. So I knew that I had been getting relaxers since I was a little girl, and that is not good for you at all. So that's why I decided to transition to that journey. And this was before natural hair was as popular as it is now. And I got some negative comments, especially like some family and things like that. And I'm like, but I love my natural hair. I am happy with my natural hair. So that's how I came up with the name. I'm happily, naturally me.
I love that. Lanisha, who mentors you? Who inspires you? Who motivates you?
So I have a lot of virtual mentors, I shall say. Um, let's see. Well, my number one mentor, I like to say that she is, I'm her adopted grandchild, even though I've never met her a day in my life. I absolutely love Oprah. I think that she's super motivating. I listen to I'll just go on YouTube and listen to some Oprah speeches. I'm very big on the law of attraction, manifestation, things like that. And that's from her. That's where I started really learning about that. And then I kind of went down that rabbit hole. But she, I will say, is probably my number one mentor, even though I've never met her.
We have a lot of mentors in our life, especially with social media. Somebody that might be listening to this podcast, and now you become their inspiration, their motivation to do some things that maybe they're on their mind to do or accomplish. So we just never know, because of now that medium that we live in, we're inspired and we are inspiring others. So I think that's the world that you create for yourself, to be inspired and to inspire others. Now we're going to inspire some people in Delco today, and you're out and about and you're heading to one of those shows, or you're restocking Flaunt Fitness, and you have a cheesesteak craving. Where are you going for your cheesesteak?
So I will say the last cheesesteak that I had that I enjoyed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in West Philly, that it was closed down for a while, but it just recently opened back up. Is that called Jim's?
I'm going to say it is. I'm just going to agree with you because I wasn't there and you didn't invite me. So it's all good. You're out and about and you have a pizza craving. Where are you stopping for pizza in Delco?
I typically go to Verona's because it's down the street from my house on Westchester Pike.
Your toppings, what do you get on your pizza?
Either pepperoni or just plain.
Are there specific restaurants that you love that you say, I need that fix? This is what I'm going for. Where are you going? Just a restaurant, whether it's a special occasion in Delco.
Every so often I will go to Pat's. I'm really into Asian cuisine. So I go to, I think it's called Pearls on Lansdowne. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're out and about and you have a convenience store need. Where are you stopping? Wawa or Royal Farms?
Okay, Wawa first because it's down the street. But if I have like a quick craving for fried chicken, I'll drive down to Royal Farms because I can walk to Wawa from my house. So, and I probably am there like at least once a day, whether it be for gas or whatever.
That's pretty significant. Lanisha, how do you describe Delco to somebody who has not heard of Delco before or who has never been here?
So when I was looking for houses, I knew that I did not want to be in Philadelphia. So Delco, I like Delco because it's a lot quieter and it's very convenient to drive into the city if I need to drive into the city. The schools are better. And I like the people here. I like my neighbors have always been very super friendly and were very welcoming when I bought my house. My son walked down the street to Highland Park Elementary School. He now is in Upper Darby High, so he walks there. And I've never had any like issues or anything like that. It's a lot cleaner than being in Philadelphia. So that's really why I like it. It's right there near the city if I need to be without being in the city.
What's always fascinating for me is listening to the answer to that question. And there are the perspectives of somebody that's lived here all their life and somebody that is now a new Delconian, essentially, that come with different visions, different ideas that they see here. And I love, it's refreshing just to hear all the observations of what Delco is. Yeah, friends or family coming in from out of town and you want to give them or take them to that Delco experience. Where do you send them or where do you take them?
Let's see. Are we talking about like entertainment or
This is your
restaurant?
trip. You're creating this. This is your world where you want to
Oh,
say, we're going to have a day, a night, we can go into the next day. Have fun with it.
fun with it. Okay. So, even though I did not mention this, I feel like being not growing up here, I feel like Pika's is a Delco staple. So if I'm trying to give someone the whole like, a taste of Delco, I will go there. I'm like, hey, everyone loves this place. Let's go down the street to Pika's again. It's a couple blocks from my house. I mean, I'll drive there, but yeah, it's down the street. Let's see what else. Um, hmm. There's always stuff going in the parks too. Like my son, he plays sports. So I feel like there's always like baseball games, like soccer going on, things like that. So that's a great experience. We always go to, support my son on his games. And that's most of the time when my family comes into town because they live in Lancaster. So they come up for my son's sporting events and then we grab something to eat. That's pretty much about it.
That's great. It's a family day. It's a Pika's day. And it's just a beautiful time to have everybody around. Lanisha, is there anything we haven't talked about today? Anything you want the listeners to know more about you or more about Happily Naturally Me?
So, guys, right now it's a limited time. So, I have no idea how long it's going to go for. Maybe when supplies run out, you can now get a sample pack of our whip shea butters. It's 5 for $5. So, that means you get 5 mini whip shea butters for $5. All you have to do is go to happilynaturallyme.com. Check out the sample pack, drop it in your cart, and order it, and it'll get shipped right to your door. And of course, make sure that you're following on all of our social media pages because I will do flash sales and things like that won't necessarily be on the website, but you'll be able to see it on our social media accounts, and then you can take advantage of that as well. Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Like, follow, share. But you know what? Comment.
Yes.
Let Lanisha know that you enjoyed her segment on the What's Happening Delco podcast. Let her know what you love about the products that she creates, and let her know what other products you'd love to see her create as well. Because what you're doing is you're providing that natural, holistic wellness experience without all those adverse side effects and wondering, as you mentioned about the ingredients list, what the heck's in it? And what's this all the way down here that I've never heard of and I can't pronounce? So that's great to just be part of that fabric and what you're doing. So thanks for being a friend of What's Happening Delco. Thanks for taking the time to be on the podcast today. We can't wait to see you out there at Pika's, out there in the parks, out there at Wawa once a day so people can find you. But the best thing is, I think when they interact with you, they're going to feel happy. They're going to feel natural, and you're going to help them feel, like themselves. And that's the blessing that you bring every day to people that you get to meet and interact with. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Go out there and make it a great day. Hey, it's Rich. Thank you so much for being a listener to the What's Happening Delco podcast. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to learn more about the people and businesses in our community. I have been a real estate agent for over 25 years, working with first-time home buyers to last-time home sellers. As a listener of the podcast, my gift to you is a complimentary 1-year American Home Shield home warranty. This is for buyers and sellers that I help. If you're looking to move anywhere in the United States, I have you covered with an amazing network of real estate agents. I look forward to hearing from you. My direct line is 215-313-3777, or you can email me at rshaneremax@comcast.net. Oh, by the way, I am never too busy for any of your referrals.